Hey, how many times have you been out with your camera and you happen to look up in the sky and there's a beautiful moon hanging up there, and you take that camera and raise it up and frame a beautiful award-winning picture and click. Then you get back to your computer and you go, ugh, that beautiful moon looks like a bright burned out ball. Well, you're not alone. Welcome to plotting a moon photo. And in this video, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take you from not knowing a lot about moons to knowing a lot in a very short amount of time. I'll have you up and running and you'll be capturing pictures worthy to hang in a gallery, I guarantee. But hey, before we get started, I would like you to, if you enjoy the content I'm bringing you here, to click the subscribe button. And you'll get notified every time I put a video out. I'm hoping to do it once a week here, sometimes more. And also, if you can go on over to my website, don@donsmithphotography.com. The URL is on the screen. The link is down in the show notes. Take a look at my workshops, my books, my video training course on landscape processing. This is basically everything landscape photography. I've been a pro for 50 years, and I started in sports photography. And for the last 25 years, I've been over in the landscape side. I'm still teaching photo workshops all around the world. And I want to mention one quick one, and we'll get to the video. We've got a workshop coming up late in September. I believe it's the 23rd through the 27th out in beautiful Grand Teton National Park, and you'll love it out there. Full fall color. And we've just had a couple of people have to drop out due to personal matters. So I have 4 openings, and click on the link. You can send me an email, don@donsmithphotography.com, and either I or Barry will get back to you. We'll get you all taken care of. We'd love to meet you and love to work with you. Okay, let's get over here to the moon photos, and we'll take a look at my computer here. And I went back over the last couple of years and selected some of the moon photos that I have shot. I've been capturing moons for close to 30 years. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a brief overview. Morrow Bay, my hometown in central coast of California. What I want you to notice in these pictures I'm showing you is especially true if I go from a half moon up to a full moon. I want to see detail in that moon. I don't want to see a blown out white orb like we were talking about. Here's one after the sun had set during dusk. We're going to talk about the optimum times to capture these moons. Here's another one. This one was over at Pebble Beach. Another one up in Yosemite with Bridal Veil Fall on a workshop that Gary Hart was teaching on his own, and I happened to come by and he let me join him. And by the way, I want to mention Gary Hart and I have been teaching workshops, both of us, for 20 years. And Gary will be my second instructor out in Grand Teton. Here's another one. This is over in Avila Beach. I love the shimmer on the water there. This is, people think I placed that moon there, but I did not. This is actually an eclipse. There was a lunar eclipse going on that night. And how did I know when that moon was going to come over that mountain? I'm going to answer that question too. Hey, can we capture moons during the daytime? We certainly can. This was captured with infrared 720 nanometer. And the great thing about this, it turns skies black. So yeah, we can do a lot of stuff. Another one here in Morrow Bay. I'm up on a hill called Black Hill, which I'm going to take you up on here very shortly. And we're going to point the other direction at the moon rising. This is a moon setting right at dawn. This is a moon setting at dusk, and that is what we call a twilight wedge, belt of Venus. Underneath it is the Earth's shadow, that blueness down there. We'll talk about all of this. Here's out in Monument Valley this past December, and Ron Madra and my workshop out there. And this was a moon rise at sunset. And then this is the picture we're going to work on today. This is one that I captured last month, and I'm going to show you how I went about capturing this and what I had to go through to get this moon positioned over that peak, which is an old volcanic plug. The one in the foreground is too, And that rock you saw out over the ocean, that's a volcanic plug. There's 9 of these volcanic plugs that we find from San Luis Obispo, California, out to the coast here in Morrow Bay. And it's a dormant volcanic chain that erupted over millions and millions of years ago, and just make these incredible images to work with. I want to show you something I did the other day because I'm going to talk about it. There's an optimum time to shoot a moon. I was in an optimum time here. I was right before sunset, probably 5 minutes or so before sunset, or almost right on sunset. Let me show you what happens if you get outside the optimum time. And basically the optimum time, in my opinion, and this is from years and years of shooting moons, is about 10 minutes or so prior to sunset if you're shooting a moonrise, and for a moon set, 10 minutes or so prior to sunrise. And I'm going to get myself confused here, sunrise and the sunsets. And then 10 minutes after. Okay, we'll talk more about that. What happens if you get outside that 10 minutes before or after? Well, you get a hunk of junk looking like this. Let me show you the raw and talk about it. Here's the raw photo. And the reason it looks so terrible, I had to expose for that moon. This was early in the morning. And when I exposed for that moon, I was still 15 minutes to 20 minutes outside the optimum window. So there just wasn't any light painting the landscape. And you say, well, why is that moon so bright? Well, that moon is bright because it's lit by the sun. So it's a daylight exposure. So this took me probably close to an hour, throwing everything I knew how to do at it and processing, from luminosity masks to Luminar Neo. I even went into Luminar or to Topaz Photo AI, and that was it. So obviously I'm not going to send that off to my stock agency. That would not be good. Let's get back here to the image we do want to talk about, and let's go in, and I am going to now show you how I went in, and I did this in a piece of software called the Photophemeris Ephemeris. So I just am going to put in, I'll add a link into the show notes where you guys don't even have to go search it, but this is the spelling of it, the Photophemeris, apostrophe S, Ephemeris. And when I click on it, you'll get a landing page. I'm already signed in as a pro, so I'm going to open up and I'm going to show you, I'm going to move you over to Morrow Bay. This is set now for east of Paso Robles, California. I was out shooting some wildflowers and wanted to see if I could time that to a moon. So what I do, I'm not going to go through, this isn't going to be a whole lesson on how to work the Photophemeris Ephemeris. There's plenty of videos on their site that you can go to learn, but I've got a locations here. Every time I get a location, I save it, and I'm going to go to Morrow Bay, and I'm going to hit go, and now I'm in. Here's Morrow Bay. Morrow Bay gets its name of the inner bay, and the outer bay is called Estero Bay. And here's that big rock I was talking about called Morrow Rock, but we're not going to be shooting in that direction today for this video. We are actually going to come up, and I apologize for this going a little wiggy. I'm not sure what's going on there. Woo, something's really off. And I'm going to pull this pin down and move this up. And I want to come up here to the top of Black Hill. And you see at the end of a trail, let me blow that up just a little bit. Hope it doesn't go crazy on me again. There we go. There's a trail that zigzags from the parking lot up to the top of Black Hill, which is 640 feet. And by the way, I have this currently set, if you come over here to the left, in USGS Topo, but I can click here to satellite view. There's the Morrow Bay Golf Course. I'm standing right up there. There's that parking lot I was telling you about right there. And let's take this down a little and go find Hollister Peak out here. And let me now come back over into US Topo. And here's Hollister Peak way up there. I was looking too far out. So we will center that around. Now, the day I captured this image, was April 11th of this year, so just last month. So I'm going to come up here to the top left, and I'm going to click to April, and I said the 11th. It was on a Friday evening. This was Easter weekend, and I remember we had my son up from LA and a few of his buddies, and we had a great time. And they all came up with me when I went up to shoot this. Now, where did Hollister Peak go? There it is. Okay. So what are these colored lines, you're probably asking yourself? Well, if you look down here, I'm going to hover over here where it says moonset. That would be the dark blue line, but we're getting a moonrise. So that's going to be this light blue line, and that's going to be what I call the start line of where the moon is rising. These orangish and yellow lines refer to the sunset, and whoops, boy, this is really, I don't know if it's on their end or my end, but we'll make it work. So one of the things to know is, and that when you download Photophemeris Ephemeris, you actually get it for free. But if you look down here on the bottom, there is a timeline, and this is, you guys need this, because rarely are you going to be shooting from sea level. And that's where all of these sunrise, sunset times are, moonrise, moonset times are. They're assuming you just had a flat horizon from sea level to be shooting it from. Okay, well, how many of us really are going to be doing that? So we have to, I said I was already up here at 640 feet. I've got this peak, and that's Park Ridge. I've got to find, where is Hollister Peak's out here, and that's 1,320 feet. And let me see if I can just do this without trying to do it with the wheel. Yeah, it's doing it. It could be just something on their end. I don't know. You're actually on their website, so who knows? But usually it's not this glitchy. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Keep your eye right here on Hollister Peak, and I can move this around. So I'm just hitting my Command plus key because I'm on a Mac. And we'll center that over. Okay, so here's the moon start line right here. This is the Santa Lucia range back in here. And the moon is nowhere near the peak, you're telling me. Well, yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's start with some of these pins. Where did I get this pin? Well, I got this pin from right over here, and that's where I want to be my start pin. I'm not going to get into the secondary pin. I've already got it. It has to do with where you want it, you know, where I'm standing at elevation and where, let's lower this again, guys. Sorry about this. Where I'm standing at elevation, and we're going to have elevation on this peak. I think I'm going to have to leave it a little bit lower. This gray line is actually going to be where the moon's moving. So let's come over here, and I'm going to bring this up a little, just so we can read these. Okay, moonrise started on that night at 6:41. So let's come on our timeline here and go out. There's 6 o'clock, 6. And you're seeing actually the gray line I pointed out wrong. It's this dark blue line. My apology. So what a time? 6:41. So I'm at 6:43. This is important to remember. If you're calculating a moon in the northern hemisphere, moon or sun, it's going to move to the right of its start line. Conversely, if you're in the southern hemisphere and you're trying to plot a moon, it's going to move to the left, or a sun, it's going to move to the left of the start line. If you forget that, just look here, and as I bring this out, you're going to start to see where the moon is starting to go, and it's moving right away from the start line. And I want to bring it till I get it over Hollister Peak. Well, here's where we run into the first problem. It's telling me basically at 8 o'clock, 8:03, somewhere in there, I am going to be right over Hollister Peak. But here's where the problem comes in. I want to look at sunset time. Sunset 7:33. So I talked about a window of optimization that you need to be in, and I was out of it when I showed you those pictures earlier. Usually it is 10 minutes either side of sunrise or sunset. So you got a 20-minute window where you can record the light of the moon, get all that detail, because remember, it's lit by the sun, so it's a daylight exposure, but that there's enough ambient light around that it will bring the values of your luminosity on your landscapes up, and it will make for a nice mix. So, having said that, am I within at 8:03 when we've got this lined right up over Hollister Peak? No, because I am 30 minutes, not 10 minutes. So where's that moon going to be if I went back to 10 minutes? 7:33, 43, 7, let's say it's 7:53, where we're getting into our window of optimization right there. And if you look, it's to the left, but whoops, that Point Cabrillo, oops, okay, I was on the wrong peak. There it is. It's still kind of to the left, and I want to get it over the center. So what I'm going to have to do, and I want to come back here and blow this up, and what I actually did do is there is a bunch of rabbit brush up here, but more worrisome for me and those around me were in April and May is when the rattlesnakes are having their babies, and they are out everywhere in this rabbit brush, around the water, up on these hills. So what I had to do to get that lined up over the peak is I had to start bushwhacking down the side of the mountain here. Now I got in about that position. Let's go back out and find Hollister Peak here again, which is right there. And look at where it's at. It's just starting to come over the top. So I probably went down even just a hair more to pull it over the top. And believe me, I was very apprehensive about, not wanting to get bit by a snake. And my wife said the same thing, be very careful not to get bit by a snake. They're everywhere. So I did about 3 frames, and then I went right back up the peak the way I came down. And after 3 frames, I played them back. I knew I had it, and I got out of there. And that was how I ended up where, let me click over back here to Lightroom, getting that. And you can see at 7:53, let's go back over here. I'm getting all my times mixed up, so bear with me. Sunset was already at 7:33, but we were getting a little bit of still sunset because of elevation. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's how I did the shot. Let me now go back to Lightroom, and you can see it. And this is also a Morrow, but I just let that go. That was already in shadow. And really, after about 3-4 frames, as I was walking back up, the sun just went boop right off the peak. But you can see there was no problem. It got the detail in the moon here, okay? And it actually had a little bit of light on the peak. So a lot of it's just going to be through experience, you guys, as you go out and you learn this. But learning the photographer's ephemeris is certainly going to up your chances of success. And I would say you're usually going to see a moon. Here's the mountains. Back here, I believe this is Santa Lucia range. I'm still learning my mountain ranges from where I live here now. And there's plenty of them. And it was taking a minute beyond posted moonrise time to clear that mountain range there. And then it took even more to clear this peak. So that's how I did it. So now you know. And you just got to download this. I wanted to mention on the photographer's ephemeris, if you get the pro version, which I highly recommend, you ready for this? Going to break the bank, gang. $9.99 per year, not per month, per year. And you get that timeline, and then you can actually plot from where you're standing and where the moon's coming over. I didn't show you that because that's a whole nother thing I can show in another video. And it will, you won't get that if you just get the regular version. So $9.99, set up that. You'll have all your locations, just save them, watch some videos on their site, and you'll be off and running. So I hope this has whetted your appetite. The next full moon's going to be in June. That's summer solstice, right around summer solstice. And what does that mean? That means that the moon is at its furthest southerly track before starting to track back to the north, and where it'll get the furthest north at winter solstice, which is in December 21st, 2021, right in there. So, and for the sun, if you're tracking that, the sun's at its furthest northern point right now, and it will start tracking back to its furthest southern point at winter solstice. So you can see they don't track together, they track exactly opposite. And that's a valuable piece of information you need to know too. Okay, so I hope this has kind of gotten you excited and you start diving in and planning for that moon. Hey, you know, it's not only the full moons we can shoot crescents, we can shoot partials. My rule on getting definition in the moon is if it's more than a half moon to a full moon, I want to capture detail in the moon. If it's less than that, like a crescent, I just let it wash out. There's no detail in a crescent moon anyway. So, hey, hope you get out there and plan for your June moon, and best of luck to you. And just remember, get out there no matter what with your camera and stay creative. It's good for the soul. We'll see you next time.